I am Lamont at Large, and today I am at the Hillside Memorial Park and Cemetery here in Culver City, California. We're going to do a tour of the famous folks that are interred and buried here at Hillside Memorial. Okay guys, so sorry about the glare, but we are here at the private mausoleum of Michael Landon. He was a very famous actor. I know him from the TV show Little House on the Prairie. He was the father on that TV show. And he was also on the television show Highway to Heaven, as you can see this picture right there. If you notice right there, there is a $1.25, if you can see it on the bench. That was something that he would always give his kids for lunch money, $1.25, $1.25, $1.25. One of the last really ruggedly handsome actors. You don't really see actors that good looking anymore. He was a very rugged, handsome guy. And he died of pancreatic cancer, and he died pretty young too. I think he was in his early 50s when he died. And here he is, the legendary Michael Landon. So this is the plaque for Milton Berle, a very famous comedian and actor way back in the day. Loving husband, adored father, you filled our lives with laughter and love. Here's a little interesting fun fact about Milton Berle. He was very famous for all of his roles on TV and on movies, but he was also very famous for something else. Now, I'm not gonna say what that was. You're gonna have to play sleuth and do a little bit of detective investigative work on the internet, but you'll find out, and there's some really funny stories about it. It's hilarious. So rest in peace to Milton Berle, one of the comedic legends of all time. This is Kristen Adrian Log. Beloved daughter, sister, and aunt, WTF, you can't walk on me anymore. Kristen was 39 years old when she died. She died of complications from pneumonia. Now, she's not a famous person, but of course I stopped by and I noticed her picture because she was very attractive and had to look her up. One of those things where you see a girl, a woman, who seems almost too pretty to be interred here. And you guys may not know this, but 50,000 people a year die of pneumonia. It's a very scary fact, and you would think that pneumonia is a disease where people died of in the 17th century. No, there's still plenty of people dying as of today from it. Sorry for the blurry image, guys. I'm trying to zoom in, but way up top there, interred in the mausoleum, is Nell Ruth Carter. You guys probably best know her as the feisty housekeeper on Give Me a Break. Before she got into TV acting, she was a cabaret performer and did a couple shows on Broadway. Rest in peace to Nell Carter, ma'am. I watched that TV show for many years. Watched you, and Joey Lawrence also played on that show. One of my all-time favorite TV shows. It's got to be in my top 20 for sure. Rest in peace to Nell Carter. This here is Adam Michael Goldstein, but the world knew him as DJ AM. He was one of the first guys that I ever noticed that was famous all over the world for being a DJ. He got really famous when he started dating Nicole Richie. That's when I, of course, like everybody else, really started paying attention to him. And him and Travis Barker were really good friends. They had like a little band together, and they were two of the 6 people that were on that commuter plane crash that killed 4 people. The only survivors of that whole plane crash was DJ Am and Travis Barker. And sadly, unfortunately, he battled drug addiction most of his life. And in 2009, about a year after the plane crash that he walked away from, he died of a drug overdose. He had the life, boy. I tell you, that guy was living the dream. He lived a life that many of us would beg and plead for. DJ AM, guys. Loved forever by family, friends, and fans around the world. When you think about old-time gangsters, old-time mafiosi, this name will come into the conversation. This is Meyer Cohen, also known as Mickey Cohen. He was a Los Angeles-based gangster. He worked for such famous mafiosi as Al Capone, Meyer Lansky, Bugsy Siegel. He helped Bugsy open up the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. And for a time, he worked as an enforcer with the Chicago outfit. He was a professional fighter. I did not know that. That was his first love, was boxing. That's why he was so famous, because he just kick anybody's ass that dare come around and mess with anybody. And didn't quite make it as a boxer, so he fell onto his backup plan, and that's becoming an underworld mob figure, which he did a pretty damn good job of doing that. And there was a story that when Bugsy Siegel was shot and killed, he was so incensed, so enraged, he went to a hotel where he was led to believe that the killers were there. He pulled out his gun and fired 2 shots in the ceiling and told everybody that he demanded that the assassins come out and meet him outside in 10 minutes. Of course, that didn't happen. They called the police, so he kind of ran and skedaddled out of there. He did some time in prison. He was not the Teflon Don. You know, he got caught up, but just a famous underworld mob figure here, Mickey Cohen. And here we have Moe Howard, the brains, the bully behind the Three Stooges comedic trio. I talked about on an earlier video Larry Fine and him not getting along off camera. Still watch their skits, their TV show to this day. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube. You want to go look it up. Moe Howard, I believe he died a few months after Larry did. And here he is. He's buried next to his wife. She died the same year, 1975, Helen Howard. And he's buried next to beloved Paul Richards. So Paul Richards was a TV actor. You might know him from Have Gun Will Travel, Tombstone. There was a bunch of TV shows that he was in. I kind of looked him up really quick, so just wanted to give him some recognition in this video. So there you are, folks. Paul Richards and Moe Howard of Three Stooges fame. So we're going to start off by showing absolutely from all the cemeteries that I've been to, this is the biggest marker, the biggest grave I've ever seen in my life. You can see this grave from the 405 freeway. I don't know if it's the biggest ever in the country, but this thing is huge. This whole fountain, this whole thing is for Al Jolson. He was a singer, dancer, just an entertainer. He was famous for doing the blackface thing back in the old days, you know what I mean? It might be offensive now. Of course, everything is offensive now, but that's what he was known for. He had a song called Mammy. I don't know if you might have heard that somewhere in the catacombs of YouTube. Anyways, just start off really quick by showing this. The legendary man once called the greatest entertainer of all time. Here he is, folks, Al Jolson. This here is the grave of Peter and Kathleen Tomarken. You might know Peter Tomarken. He was a game show host in the 80s and 90s. He was a game show host of a couple game shows, Press Your Luck, Wordplay, Bargain Hunters. This guy had an odd career in the game show industry. It was almost like they would come up with these ideas for game shows and they would always use him to test it out on, and they never lasted a whole long time. I've always thought that was odd about all the game shows that he hosted. He must have hosted, I remember him hosting at least 7 or 8. Every time there was a new game show, because my friend's mom would always watch game shows when I would go spend the night at her house, and he was always hosting those game shows that would just maybe last 1 or 2 seasons, and that's it. But he was also did a little bit of television acting. And this man and his wife, they died in a plane crash on March 13, 2006. They were volunteers for this organization where they would pick up people from different parts of California and take them to the hospital via their airplane. And they unfortunately died in the crash. A very remarkable thing to do, to use your own plane to just, pick up sick people. And they were on their way to San Diego to pick up a cancer patient when their airplane crashed. Peter Tomarken, not a famous name, but you definitely, if you watched game shows in the 80s and the 90s, you definitely know this guy's face. He's that guy that he'd be on a game show for about maybe a month or 2, and then they pull the plug. But rest in peace, Mr. Tomarken. It's an honorable thing that you did, and you died, and your wife in a doing something very kind and just very honorable. So my condolences to the Tomarken family. Rest in peace to Peter and Kathleen Tomarken. This here is Andrew James Breitbart. If you are a fan of conservative politics, then you might have read articles that he wrote for the Huffington Post or the Drudge Report, or you might have read articles that people wrote for him on his website, breitbartnews.com. He got famous. I remember his name coming and becoming known with the Anthony Weiner, that clown, that disgusting, perverted clown. This guy broke that story on Anthony Weiner. That's when I remembered Breitbart News, and I do read a little bit of his on the website from time to time. I did not know, honestly, I didn't know that he was dead. I actually thought he was just an old man that just used to write for newspapers. I didn't know how young he was. He died of a heart attack in 2012. His stone is inscribed, "Herein lies a giant, Andrew James Breitbart, beloved husband, father, brother, and son, 1969 to 2012. I believe he was 43 when he died. So here he is, and he's buried next to his parents, Gerald and Arlene Breitbart. All right, guys. Live, but not live, but still live by the grace of God. Thank you for watching my video showing some famous graves here at the Hillside Memorial Park and Cemetery here in Culver City, California on this beautiful day. I am Lamont at Large. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. Peace out.